You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Tuesday, happy Mars Day, and happy final day of Mercury retrograde. In true retrograde fashion, Mercury has definitely changed my plans today, but I'm so grateful for all of you who are able to join me live right now and have just been patient with me. Corby, so sweet, saying the timing of the live streams always works out, and I'm so glad. So glad it does. Happy Tuesday to you. Court popped on just to send her love, even though she's about to head into a client call. We love that. We receive that positive energy. Hey, Rachel. Hey, Diane. And today we have some really powerful Capricorn birthdays. Like all of my favorite Capricorns are celebrating their birthdays on the same day. No, I'm not talking about Muhammad Ali, but he's a great Capricorn too. Jim Carrey, you know, if we looked up Jim Carrey's birth chart, I have a feeling he would probably have quite a bit of Aquarius in his chart too, if I had to guess. That's just a total guess. But my partner, who is a Capricorn, a very Capricorn human, loves Jim Carrey. So this makes sense to me. Michelle Obama, also a Capricorn. I feel that from her, that protective mama energy. Zooey Deschanel is a Capricorn. Love her. Betty White, may she rest in peace. Also a Capricorn. Steve Harvey, Al Capone. Okay, Ray J, not necessarily making the list of my favorites, but wow, the list just keeps going on. Dwayne Wade, Calvin Harris, James Earl Jones, Tiesto. Like, no wonder all these people are so successful. They're Capricorns, and something special about January 17th. I'm telling you, like, all the best Capricorns are born on this day. So if you're a Capricorn, if you know someone celebrating their birthday today, 2 different people in my community here in Sacramento, 2 different women are celebrating their birthday today, and I love them both. And so it just feels right. It feels like a good day to be a Capricorn. Yeah, not what you would guess right off the bat, right? Like he has to have a Sag rising, a fire rising, an Aquarius rising maybe. He does not give straight up Capricorn vibes, but he is very driven for success. I mean, he's been very successful, so I could see that, right? Let's get a current check on the energy. The sun is in Capricorn. The moon is now in Sagittarius. Yeah, Leo rising, I could totally see that. The moon is now in Sagittarius. The moon spent the morning in Scorpio making some powerful connections. So we'll talk about that. You might have woken up feeling very empowered, confident. Now that the moon is in Sag, the energy feels a little bit freer, more joyful, spontaneous, optimistic. And that's what we're going to be focusing on today. Just the moon. But before we get into what's going on with the moon, yes, it is the last day of Mercury retrograde. So let's just take a moment for Mercury at 8 degrees in Capricorn. And I just want to touch on how we can use the last day of Mercury retrograde to our benefit. So yes, take a look at where 8 degrees of Capricorn falls in your chart. Are there any other planets within about 5 degrees of where Mercury is right now that can maybe give you some insight as to what themes have come up for you during Mercury retrograde, knowing what house Mercury has been going through. All of this is what I'll be teaching in transit tracking, which we are officially starting this you'll get your first bit of course material on Friday, and our first call will be on Saturday afternoon. So if you're feeling like I don't even know how to tell where Mercury is in my chart, that is the place for you to go. We're going to learn together. But for those of you who've been here on this journey with me, who are more familiar with astrology, where has Mercury retrograde been moving backwards through your chart? And what review has come up? What reflection has come up over the past 2 weeks or so as Mercury has been making its backspin? Now, what's interesting about a retrograde, we'll dive into this a little bit more tomorrow, but this is just something I want to talk about today while Mercury is still retrograde, really taking a moment to reflect on what has come up over the past 2 weeks and what you may begin to gain clarity on when Mercury stations direct tomorrow morning. So it's the last day. We're dealing with Mercury retrograde, and I really feel like it's a powerful opportunity for reflection. Yeah, it's going to be so fun, Corby. Saturn at 8 degrees, Uranus at 3 degrees, and Neptune at 10 degrees. Whoa! This has been a powerful Mercury retrograde for you. I have a feeling a lot of lessons have been coming up, maybe reviewing a lot of the lessons that you thought you'd already had down. Yeah, but we're sending you lots of love, maybe even a little confusion with Neptune right there. Some changes coming up for you, insights, powerful Mercury retrograde for Katie. Okay, now that I've given Mercury the attention he deserves as a mercurial being, I'm like, we gotta give the time to Mercury. Let's talk about the moon. So first, let's start with where we've been this morning. Let's see, 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific time. So as most of us were waking up this morning, the moon was forming a sextile to the sun and Pluto, because mind you, as Mercury stations direct tomorrow, the sun is coming into this conjunction with Pluto. In fact, they're pretty much conjunct right now. So not only are we reviewing, reflecting all these things, but we're in the midst of an intense transformation period where the sun is really shining light on what's changing, what's dying, what we're letting go of, and what is being reborn. Now, Pluto is also the planet of empowerment. So there's a lot of empowerment that we've been feeling, especially as the moon, when it was still in Scorpio, was making a supportive connection to this conjunction. The Scorpio moon really allows us to tap into that sense of inner power. And as we talked about yesterday, tapping into the surrender that comes, or I should say the empowerment that comes from surrender, the empowerment that comes from letting go, taking our hands off the wheel, and trusting in a plan greater than we can understand. That can be very empowering. That can be very like, okay, I got it either way. Whatever happens, I have that power within. So it was easier to tap into that this morning as the Scorpio moon made this supportive connection to the sun and Pluto, really helping us lean into our internal confidence and also lean into our power, lean into the transformation that's happening right now, kind of facing it head on and getting to the bottom of it. Hopefully when Mercury stations direct tomorrow, it's a little easier to talk and think, right? Anybody else having some tongue twister problems in the past couple weeks? Katie says it has. Super powerful. It was tough, but lots of positivity coming out of it. Yeah, I feel that. Energy has been better than the last few months. Yes, I'll be happy when Mercury retrograde ends. Well, it's all part of this transformation that we kind of got a peek into this morning as the moon connected with that Sun-Pluto conjunction. So that was like a little preview of the intensity that is building as the sun comes into an exact conjunction with Pluto and Mercury stations direct. It really does feel like this tipping point or this shift from death to rebirth that hopefully comes as Mercury stations direct. That's what was going on this morning with the moon in Scorpio. Now let's talk about the energy we're currently feeling. The moon is now in Sagittarius, currently at 2 degrees, and let's talk about this waning crescent moon in Sagittarius. What can we learn from the waning moon in the sign of the Archer? So remember, the waning crescent moon is a time of surrender, release, letting go. We're coming into the dark moon phase. At the end of the week, we'll really be feeling the dark moon. So this is really a time of just letting go. And it feels especially powerful and almost, it just feels right with the waning crescent moon in Sagittarius right now, because Sagittarius energy is all about spontaneity, adventure, freedom, trust, faith, that expansion that comes from letting go of control, right? Letting go of our need to know the outcome. The waning moon in Scorpio was more about digging deep to let go. We've already gone to our depths. Now that the moon is in Sagittarius, it feels much lighter, more expansive. And the waning crescent moon in Sag is a reminder that there is growth in the process of release, in the process of letting go. So it's easier to be more optimistic and faithful about whatever is coming next as the moon continues to invite us to release and let go, to loosen our grip. And Sagittarius energy is all about philosophy and the bigger picture. So just kind of trusting that the bigger picture is unfolding, trusting in a plan greater than we can understand, and maybe doing something a little fun and spontaneous in the process, because we don't know what's coming next. But why not have fun in the process of release, right? That feels like the Sagittarius moon is like, just have a little fun while you're in this unknown, right? Oh, okay. Elle says, thanks to you, I just learned that you are, let's see, a Gemini rising, right? Is that Capricorn sun and a Scorpio moon? We love a Scorpio moon over here. Jim Carrey is a Scorpio rising, a Capricorn sun, and a Gemini moon. Interesting. Okay. I would not suspect that he's a Scorpio rising, although in recent years, the mask, right? The fact that he was the mask, like that is Scorpio rising. And in recent years, he's kind of revealed that he's much deeper than a lot of people gave him credit for. The Gemini moon, though, feels to me like where a lot of his ability to shape shift and take on different roles comes into play. So interesting. Thanks for sharing that and looking that up for us, Elle. Hi, Tanner. He says, happy end to Mercury retrograde. I have Saturn at 23 degrees, Neptune at 11 degrees. So Uranus is your closest, and Mercury in the 11th house. Interesting. Definitely been revising, polishing creations as I prep to start reaching out for collaborators on multiple projects. Love that. Okay, so we're feeling this Sagittarius moon. Maybe we're a little eager for expansion, for the new moon that is gracing us on Saturday. Let's talk about what's happening with that waning crescent moon in Sagittarius for the rest of the day. So the moon comes into a trine with Jupiter. In fact, you should be able to see it on our chart right now. This is exact at 3 p.m. So we're really starting to feel that. Are you feeling it right now? If you're joining me live, like, easy to be optimistic. We really want to grow and expand. See that dark blue line? That is the trine we're talking about. And interestingly enough, Lilith is forming a loose trine to both of the moon and Jupiter. So we're experiencing a grand fire trine right now. That fire is easy to step into, and there is this empowerment that comes from, again, letting go, having fun, being spontaneous, being free. When the moon forms a trine to Jupiter, it's all the optimism, all the good vibes, and just this ability to trust. Again, I want to repeat this because something that came really powerfully through when I was writing the forecast was that there is expansion in letting go. Oftentimes we think of releasing and letting go as something we're losing and something we're saying goodbye to. But even the process of release is part of our growth, is part of our journey. Even our ability to just be like, I trust and I release, like that is growth in itself. And so as the moon harmonizes with Jupiter, the planet of growth, the planet of abundance, the planet of optimism, it's really easy to feel that trust and to feel that expansion. And also to know that as we follow the moon's phases, no, this isn't really the time to start anything new, but maybe in thinking about your own expansion and how you want to grow, it's easier to let go of what's no longer serving that vision you have. It's really natural to feel excited about the future and excited about the possibilities, about the adventure ahead when the moon is harmonizing with Jupiter like it is right now. And in that place of like, there's beautiful things ahead, we can see like, do I want to bring this energy along with me? Is there anything else I need to release or let go of before that next step? Definitely feeling this release. Rachel says, I keep getting ask once, release, and know I will receive it or better. Yes, this or better. It's interesting that keeps coming up because I tend to keep asking for clarity, and that's not fully letting go, right? You keep grasping for the control a little bit. I get it. That's natural. And Mercury is still retrograde. So clarity is coming. But first, we have to go through this transformative portal with Pluto Cazimi, or Pluto conjunct the sun, which we'll dive into a little bit tomorrow. And just really embrace the surrender, right? The clarity will come after we let go of the need to know what's coming next. And it feels easier to just let go and trust right now. Yeah, I do feel like the sun came out versus my doom and cloudiness earlier. It's funny you say that because it's actually really sunny for the first time, it feels like, in weeks here in Sacramento. There have been pockets of sun, but it does, I'm looking out the window right now and it feels like the sun is here to stay for a little bit. We might get a few rain clouds, but just the end of, at least those of us here on the West Coast, the storm after storm after storm, feels like the sun is coming out more long term again. And yeah, the moon trine Jupiter and fire signs is that sunny energy. It is that, like, you might even just be feeling more literal energy right now. Like, oh, look at all the things I could do. Look at all the possibilities, right? Hi, Nick. Literally was thinking about fully surrendering and letting go earlier, Corby says, releasing so that I can embrace the new that is to come. Perfect. Beautiful. Exactly the energy we're feeling right now. Okay, I want to talk about one more transit we'll be feeling tonight, though. Not quite as sunny and optimistic, although there will be plenty of energy in one way or another. So midnight Pacific time, overnight, for those of you who live in Eastern time zones, we'll just jump ahead 6 hours or so here so you can see what this looks like. Here it is. The moon opposing Mars at 8 degrees. Yes. Okay, so let's talk about this. Might be hard to fall asleep tonight as the moon opposes Mars. Personally, I have been up really late at night and not exactly sure why that's the case, but I have a feeling tonight will be another late night for me. The moon opposing Mars in general, regardless of what time of day this is playing out for you in your time zone. Again, this is midnight Pacific time. So, maybe if you live in Europe, you're waking up feeling the moon opposing Mars. This can make us feel irritable, a little bit restless, like we need to take action, we need to do something, which can bring through this burst of energy, but it can also create mood swings, aggression, outbursts even, especially when the moon is in the fiery and impulsive sign of Sagittarius opposing Mars and Gemini. It's really easy to kind of flip-flop from like, I'm trusting and I have all this energy and it's fun, to like, I'm feeling irritable and I want to do something with this energy. It might just feel like you have a lot of pent up even anxiety that like wants to come out in some way or another. And if we don't have a healthy outlet for that energy, a healthy way to take action late tonight, we can, it's easy, unfortunately, to take it out on the people around us or let little things, especially with Mars and Gemini, little irritants kind of expand into something bigger. The moon in Sagittarius really expands our emotions. So something to keep in mind, remember, now that you are aware of this, the transits don't have to control you. You are in control of yourself, but just notice, am I feeling irritated tonight? Am I having a hard time falling asleep, getting my mind to rest? Maybe doing some gentle movement, I really feel like having a physical outlet anytime the moon is in a fire sign, but especially as the moon is opposing Mars tonight, having a physical outlet is going to be really important. Even something as silly as like, oh, I'm feeling aggressive tonight, or I'm feeling irritated. I'm going to do like 20 jumping jacks and just see how I feel after that. Or I'm going to run around my house, put on some music, dance around, do a yoga flow, lift some weights. Might be as it could even just be this contrast or this conflict between like wanting to surrender and let go and trust, and tomorrow's going to be a beautiful day, but having this very active mind that's refusing to shut off and let you relax. So how can you work with that energy? How can you lean into it? Maybe you realize, what was I just watching? I think I talked about this yesterday. I think it was in that documentary that Jonah Hill just put out, Stutz, with his therapist, where I forget the term they used, but essentially he was saying like working with things that aren't going well. So if you notice, I have a lot of energy right now. Okay, might as well just do something productive, even if it's not really conducive to a normal sleep schedule. How can I work with this? And like, I bring this up because Jonah Hill was like talking about how he was having a hard time falling asleep. He was feeling very anxious, having a lot of thoughts playing on loop, a lot of ideas coming through as he was trying to fall asleep. So he's like, you know what? I'm just going to write these down and brainstorm the kind of things I want to shoot for this documentary tomorrow. So having an outlet ready to go, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, but somewhere to place any excess energy tonight so you don't misplace that energy, and just giving yourself grace, like not being hard on yourself if you're like, I can't relax, I can't calm down, I can't fall asleep. Maybe you'll be lucky, maybe Sagittarius rules your 12th house and it'll be easier for you to fall asleep. But I would just say a late night workout, something to release, definitely having that in your back pocket in case you need it. Also, as I felt that way an hour ago, so I made myself dance. Beautiful. Yeah, and the Sagittarius moon can just do that. People who are Sagittariuses, or especially people who have Sagittarius moons, tend to need a lot of physical exercise. They tend to need to move their body a lot because their moon is ruled by Jupiter right now. So it's just a lot. Jupiter energy is a lot. It's almost excess energy with the moon in Sag. And maybe the excess energy is showing you what needs to be released under the waning crescent moon. Oh, thank you, Maribel. I'm really glad that resonated. So have an activity, have an outlet in your back pocket in case you need it. Hopefully you don't. Hopefully this transit, you can just kind of move through it easily, but you might need to blow off some steam tonight. That dancing and yoga sounds like it may be in my plans tonight. And the Sagittarius moon reminds us to have fun with it. Let our hair down, let it be expansive. Let it be a fun version of release. Oh, look at you making an amazing Greek salad for dinner. Love that for you, Nikki. So that's the last transit we'll talk about. Again, if you are finding this video later, maybe you live in Europe or somewhere in another part of the world, waking up with the moon opposing Mars could be like that burst of energy that you need. That would be very nice. But those of us who are dealing with this late at night, not quite the ideal timing. All right, let's come back to our affirmation of the day. I trust in my evolution. This feels like a message from the Sagittarius moon. Trusting in our evolution as we're in the midst of this transformation, as our transformation is being illuminated by the Sun conjunct Pluto right now. Trusting in our evolution, trusting in a plan greater than we can understand, and releasing the need to know what's coming next. Really fully embracing the optimism of the Sagittarius moon and trusting in our own evolution and our own growth. Rose, my moon is in Sag. I'm also going through my Jupiter return. That's right. You have so much freaking fire energy in your chart. and your Venus return right now. So I'm feeling good. That totally makes sense. Sending all the positive vibes and energy to you all. We will receive that, Rose. We will receive all the good vibes, especially as you are feeling them. Such a great reminder that even if you're not in a very positive season of your life, the sun will shine again. And if you are like Rose in this very abundant feeling season, honoring that, really soaking it in, knowing that this season won't last forever either. And, you know, the Sagittarius moon is a generous energy as well. Sagittarius is very generous. So if you are feeling good, sharing those good vibes with others, leaning into gratitude, telling people you're grateful for them, you know, really sharing the love under the Sagittarius moon. And that can be a form of release too, right? Releasing, what are they going to think about it? Am I going to be too much? Just sharing the good vibes, sharing them if you're feeling them. You have Mars in Gemini. So that Mars retrograde was probably powerful for you, Tanner. Opposing your sun. Lucky to have found the guitar at an early age. Having that healthy outlet. Definitely. Or extreme sports, join the military, right? Yeah. Sun opposing Mars can definitely do that. Okay. Let's finish up with a card pull. I'm going to do something spontaneous, impulsive, a little risky, and pull from this really funky deck again today. It's called Irreverent Inspiration. It was gifted to me, so I always like to share the love. And if you are kind of a lover of all things eccentric, you might really love this deck. This felt like last day of Mercury retrograde deck because the messages that come through are really odd, weird. And I like to give the warning that sometimes they're not PG. So if it is going to be a card that comes through that's a little bit raunchy or not the most PC, I will give you a heads up before I start reading it. Just want to be respectful if anybody's watching with little ones right now. So this is your time to ask any final questions, share any final Mercury retrograde insights. Nikki a lot of you are having your Mars return. A lot of you have Mars in Gemini. Yeah, we do need the comic relief. And usually this deck provides some comic relief. So I thought, what better way to embrace these last hours at this point of Mercury retrograde. Mercury will station direct early tomorrow morning. Than to just lean into the weirdness, lean into any bizarre, funky messages, reflections that are coming through. I'm hoping we don't get any phallic cards, though. The Virgo in me gets really uncomfortable when the phallic cards come through, but that's okay. That's okay. Discomfort is part of the human experience. All right, let's go ahead and take a deep breath together. The deepest breath you've taken all day, sending love, sending energy, sending positivity into the cards, asking any questions you are still waiting to be answered during your Mercury retrograde reflections. Here we go. All together, whether you're finding this video live or joining me later, deep breath in. And a nice big audible release. What do we need to know? Oh, okay. Okay. Interesting. The card, it is PG, so that's good. You're to blame. You're to blame is what came in. Interesting. This deck is notorious for being really harsh with the messages that come through. So you're to blame. Let's see. Oh, it is the very last card in the deck, fitting for the last day of Mercury retrograde. And here is the message. You're to blame, which is not to bomb. Or maybe it is. You're the creator of your life. Might as well be to bomb. Too bad you don't want to know how powerful you really are. Too bad you still think you are at the effect of everyone else. Too bad you are too pathetic to do anything about it. What a shame. Such a good one, too. Stop to blame, be to bomb. I told you it's a weird deck. But regardless of how harsh this message seems, okay, geez, this feels like, it looks like even Saturn is in the heart. And This is Saturn speaking directly to my soul as I'm in the thick of my last Saturn return right now. You're to blame. The Libra in me, the Virgo in me wants to make this a little less harsh, so I'm going to tone it down a little bit with my interpretation. But how can you take more? The term that actually has been coming through for me during this last hit of my Saturn return is radical accountability. How can you take radical accountability for your life? How can you be radically honest with yourself? Are you blaming any circumstances on anyone else, or even giving other people your power? Maybe it's not a matter of blaming others. Maybe it's waiting on others to make the decision, waiting on others for clarity, right? So, okay, yes, we hear you, Saturn. We hear you, creators of this really wild deck. You're to blame. Maybe it's, how can I take more accountability for my energy? How can I find more responsibility for myself in this season of my life? Yeah. Love how this card likes to keep it real. Definitely feeling like a Saturn message. You're to blame. Interesting. Yeah, Corby, very interesting card pull today. What a message. Put the power back in our hands and focus on us. Ooh, I love this interpretation, Nick. You are the only a-hole that can get to your destiny. Yeah, movie quote from Full Metal Jacket, right? Yeah, I like that phrasing better. Giving someone power. I'm ready to take back my power. You know, and I will say the point of this deck when you pull a card is to kind of be a slap in the face, is to kind of shock you. That's why it's called irreverent inspiration. It's like, you want a message? There's your message, right? You're to blame. But, you know, we're all about love and being gentle with ourselves here in the spiritual journalist community. So yes, how can you take back your power? How can you take radical responsibility for yourself, radical accountability for your actions? How can you stop giving your power away to other people or even to the universe? You know, like, okay, I'm just waiting, I'm waiting for you to show me what to do. Maybe this card is like, you've got to take action. You've got to be the one to move the needle. I will say Mercury is still retrograde. We've got a new moon coming up. So it feels like this is a card reminding us to reflect on the things or the ways that we've been giving our power away. I wouldn't necessarily charge full force. I would just wait until the new moon if I was you. We're in this phase of deep surrender. But how can you release the stories you've been telling yourself or the blame that you've been putting on other people? How can you release the pattern of giving your power away to others? Maybe that's what this waning moon, this Mercury retrograde is asking you, especially with Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. Themes of responsibility and maturity are coming up. So it's really easy, you know, for our inner children, if you will, to kind of place the blame on other people or put responsibility on other people. But Mercury retrograde in Capricorn is really forcing us to reflect on how we can take back responsibility for ourselves. Yeah, take action, a lesson that keeps popping up. The time to move forward is coming, Rachel. The new moon, you know, we'll be starting transit tracking together on the new moon. And that feels like a really beautiful way to start moving forward and find accountability in the day-to-day journaling that we'll be doing and in the group chat we'll have with each other, checking in with each other. I think I've mentioned this, but I'm doing a dry January right now, and we just started a group. I think there's like 10 to 15 of us, most of us local to Sacramento, a group of women who are all doing dry January together, and having people to hold us accountable for the steps we're taking, the cycles we're walking through, is helping it be a lot easier to stick to the intentions we set, right? You know, there have been times where it'd be really easy and I really wanted to just check out and grab a substance, but I'm like, no, I got my girls. We're all doing this together. So if you're looking for that accountability to move forward, to take action, to take responsibility for yourself, I think that's going to be a really powerful side effect of the group that we're all in together for transit tracking. So you have until the end of the week to sign up, thespiritualjournalist.com/shop. It's under the courses tab. It's right there when you go to the spiritual shop, and still plenty of time to get involved, make some friends, learn how to track the transits in your chart and pull your own insights. Be your own best astrologer. Stability and protection. I'm getting that I am protected in this unknown and to keep moving forward knowing that. So powerful. And you are your higher self. You are connected to your guides. You are protecting yourself in one way, shape, or form by having your spiritual connection, by reminding yourself, I'm guided, I'm protective, I'm in control of my own energy. So I love also, Erica on Instagram said, you can't blame Mercury retrograde anymore. You're to blame. And I think that is so freaking perfect. I'm so glad she said that. Like, it's really easy. Mercury retrograde. I did it today. Like, oh yeah, I just stalled and delayed. My plans got changed. Mercury retrograde. No, we got to take radical accountability for I mean, also giving ourselves grace, but it does feel like, okay, we can't blame Mercury retrograde anymore. How can we take accountability? Yes, looking forward to transit tracking. Rose says, if I do end up on the group Zooms, don't mind me running after my toddler. We can't wait to meet him. We can't wait to see him. Yeah. So just so you know, the first Zoom call will be on Saturday afternoon on the new moon. I thought it would be really fun to do it on the new moon, but you'll get your journal prompts and everything on Friday. So you'll get all of your materials you need to start on Friday, and you can start journaling on the new moon. We'll talk through kind of the process and what I use for journaling on our Zoom together, our first Zoom. But then after our Saturday Zoom, the calls will be on Friday evenings. So depending on where you live, it might be late Friday night, it might be Friday afternoon for you, Rose. But the calls will be on Friday evenings for the 3 following weeks after that. And then I believe we will do one final kind of like graduation call at the end of the cycle. It'll be 1 p.m. Pacific time, Saturday afternoon. So that's our first call together. I hope you all can make it. I really did. I sent out a survey and tried to find a time that worked the best for everybody. Oh, I feel like it's going to be life-changing. I hope so, Corby, but also I think it'll be really empowering, coming back to this message of taking accountability, taking responsibility, knowing that like you, just by journaling every day or just by taking 5 minutes to check in with where's the sun, where's the moon, what planets are making connections in my chart, that can be really powerful guidance and help. It's helped me reclaim my power in a lot of ways. So I'm so excited. So excited. It's going to be great. Yes, putting the power back in your hands. During my late nights, the past couple of nights, I've been having all these ideas, planning everything out, and yeah, really putting a lot of energy and intention into the material I'm going to be sharing with you. A lot of it is going to be stuff that many of you have information many of you already have learned just by following along with the live stream, but I think it'll be a nice way for you to really like study and have a structured way. You know, the Virgo in me wants things to be organized and structured, have a structured way to apply the daily forecast like many of you watch every day to your own chart and have a system. Again, the Virgo in me loves a system, have a system for doing that. Yeah, I'm so excited. I can't wait to like chat with you all this weekend, less than a week away. And I know there are a few more people who are going to trickle in and join over the next couple days too. So that's going to do it for this episode of Transits today. The last episode with Mercury in retrograde. I can't believe I just said Mercury in retrograde. So not what I believe in as an astrologer. That's like kind of a faux pas in astrology. But the last Mercury retrograde live stream for a while is what I'm trying to say, with Mercury still retrograde. So I appreciate you all, sending so much love to you, so much gratitude for the community that we're building together, for each of you who continue to share your love, share your positivity, share your light. You are all so special, and I am so excited to get to know many of you even better over the course of the next month. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow as Mercury stations direct to talk about this powerful transit, this transformation. Feels like really a pinnacle moment in the transformation in the death and rebirth cycle tomorrow. So I will see you then, but until I see you next, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.